This is an updated team for Abyss Floor 103, using nothing but free units because Genesis Ross is a free unit now. It does take a little while to get him, but he is insanely good on this floor. His damage is just so high, and it lets us skip a lot of the floor's mechanics and also work in Brieg, who is another free unit, and his debuffs are a lot more consistent into this floor compared to the other units we were using before. So we've got Genesis Ross, Mercedes, Tamarinne, and Brieg, and we can take a look at everybody's stats, starting off with Genesis Ross. So Genesis Ross, I geared him a little bit badly on purpose. The main things you want to focus on are crit damage, crit chance, and HP. If you have the stats for it, or the gear for it, you can go for a little bit of speed. Could be nice, but it's not too necessary. Something like this, with where can I squeeze more crit chance out of here? Like this probably would be good. Just a bunch of HP, 100 crit chance, 350 crit damage. And like I said, if you have the gear for it, you could probably look for more crit damage as well, or more speed, and drop a bit of HP, or you could just go full HP. I think either build would work okay. Instead, I nerfed him a bit just to try to make his, like, this a more relatable clear. This does have some good pieces here. It's just like, this is broken set. The chest is good. Chest ring, and I would say probably the sword are all good. Like, the helm is just okay. But the main thing here is I'm really overcapped on crit damage and crit chance. If I change this chest to, I think this one is the same thing but 5 less crit chance. I'm 41 crit damage overcapped and 18 crit chance overcapped because this is 10 extra crit chance. So yeah, I'm wasting a lot of stats here, plus his attack is pretty much useless for Ross. But this is just to make his build a bit more relatable. And then we have Daydream Joker for extra damage and plus 15 in his skills. Mercedes got her on pretty standard damage gear, with also Daydream Joker. There's not too much to say about her. Also, plus 15 her skills. Next up is Tamarinne. Tamarinne, I swapped out her helm to lower her speed a little bit. I usually have her at 240, but 220 works fine. This is more than enough. Do give her a bit of effectiveness, though. I don't know exactly how much, because I forget how much F-res this boss has, but probably aim for like 70 is okay, I think. I'll go check what it is, and then I'll put the number on the screen here. Besides that, just give her some HP, and then give her I just gave her Magaraha's Tome as well. You don't really S2 that much in this fight, to be honest. You could swap this out for like Celestine or something if you want. A healing artifact could work well, especially if you're struggling to tank on wave 1. And then for her skills, I just have max S2, max S1. Or max S3, rather, not S1. Also, I have her imprinted, but I put it on self-imprint just to make it so her attack percent imprint isn't influencing the run. Team imprint would be way better. Lastly is Brieg, who I just geared pretty much full tank with Steadfast Gatekeeper. His damage doesn't really matter in this run, and tanking wave 1 can be a little bit annoying, so I opted to just build him full tank instead. That's it for everybody's stats, and now let's take a look at the run. So starting off, this is the Unlimited Rats wave. This wave can be annoying, but we have enough AoEs that it shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've got Ross, Mercedes. 3 AoEs between them is going to be enough. Starting off, we're just going to pretty much focus down the big rat, and we'll let the AoEs take care of the rest. That dual attack is a little bit unlucky, because that's an extra CR push. Whenever you hit the rats with a single target attack, all other rats except for the rat that got hit will CR push. Here's our first AoE. And we're going to use this S2 here. We landed a plus 50-50 there, but this is just to cycle his Sacred Covenant buff off faster. We don't want that, because on wave 2, the boss and the ad both punish you if you have a buff. Here, tanking can be a bit hard. Ideally, they spread out their damage a little bit, so Brieg's not just eating all of it. We'll see whether or not we land Death Break here. Another dual attack. Okay, so we landed Death Break, which is going to change a couple of things. This lets you pretty much instantly move into the next wave, because Mercedes S2 is just going to eviscerate this entire section. I'm going to splice in a section here, where I'm just going to show what it's like when you don't get that, and I'll show you how to manipulate the rats. So now on this turn, if you did land Death Break with Brieg, you would just straight up one-shot everything with Mercedes S2, but we didn't, so it's only the small ones that are going to die. Killing off all the small ones is still really important though, because this makes it a lot easier for Brieg when he's trying to tank everything. Only damage from 1/2 rats instead of 6. So hitting them with an AoE or two target attack isn't going to do anything. What you're going to want to do in this situation is you're going to want to focus down the rat that's higher HP, just because this guy, his S3 wasn't up yet, now his S3 is up, and now we want to start hitting him. And that's just because when you kill a rat, it'll reduce the cooldowns of another rat that's alive. And we actually have a bit of a rough situation here because he has speed buff, so he might cut. And if he cuts, we'll just have one extra rat to kill. So that is why I pushed that rat after, just so that I left this rat alive so he wouldn't reduce the cooldown of this guy. But I think he's going to get his S3 off at a pretty bad time for us anyways, so we'll just have one more rat wave to go through. He has his S3 off there because of the timings. And then now we're going to... How should we play this? Well, we can just trim this guy's HP a little bit. Oops, I killed him. Well, that's what happens when you kill the rats a little bit too early. So we are going to... We kind of have to focus this guy down, just because his HP is really high at this point. Ideally, you don't want 2 rats at full HP. You want one of them to be a little bit lower. This guy should be a bit easier to kill off. So we're going to do this on this guy. He still has one more turn on his Death Break, so we're just going to keep on doing this. You could honestly wipe them all out with Ras S3. I don't think you really need to hold it for the next wave. I'm just holding it. Now we should be able to trim these guys a little bit better. You push that guy up, and now he's further back. And now what? Okay, now he's way in the back, and we should be able to kill him in time, hopefully. Looking at the speeds, I think my Mercedes goes first, so we should be fine here. You could do that. You could also just use Ras S3 if you're sick of looking at them. And then now, we're just going to continue from here. We're just going to kill the rats, and we'll enter into Wave 2. So here, you don't care about Cidd. We're just going to focus everything into Blaze Dingo. The timing's a bit awkward here. Blaze Dingo cleanses when he attacks, so we're not going to use S3. We're just going to S1 here. We'll S3 on the next turn. And then for Genesis Ras, we can just use S1. This is also, again, just because we still have that Sacred Covenant buff, so it's a little bit awkward. I think he CR pushes because we take a turn with somebody, so this might just be wasted since he cleanses. Okay, I think he only pushes if somebody with a buff hits him. Whatever. You're just gonna keep on hitting him. We got an extra dual attack there, but the main thing is you want to make it so that you get his HP as low as possible. This little marker here is 30%, and when he gets below 30%, he'll activate his S3, which transforms him into Fire Dingo, which is more annoying to deal with, I would say. So you want to deal as much damage as possible here. That's also why we're holding Ras's S3. We're going to use it in the last possible second and cut off as much of his HP as we can. Also, this is another like little timer for us. When he gets his S3 naturally, he'll also transform into Fire Dingo. And I'm avoiding using Ras Stats 2 here, just because it gets a bit awkward sometimes. Sometimes the... what is it called? The collapse makes his AP ranges a bit awkward. It's... generally, I prefer just not using it. But as long as you're not using it on this final turn here, you'll be okay. You can use it, like, earlier, as long as he's able to cleanse the collapse off before it gets to this point specifically. So now, we're going to just rip his S3. And with the power of 350 crit damage and 100% Death Pen plus Daydream Joker, we left them with about probably 13-14% HP. So now, mainly, you want to see if you have cooldowns on Brieg. We do, so we don't have to use Tamarinne S3. I'm going to hold it to cleanse potentially instead. This floor, the gimmick is you have to debuff him. That's why Brieg is nice here. He's got 2 debuffs, and we got lucky. Sometimes, if you only land 1 debuff, it gets annoying because if he doesn't have 2 or more debuffs, when he uses S1, he'll activate his S2 as an extra attack. His S2 stuns you, 50% chance, and also transfers 1 debuff. And let's say you only landed Death Break, and you got 15%ed on the speed down. Then it gets a bit annoying, because he'll just flip the Death Break back to you, and you have to debuff him again. Thankfully, Brieg has pretty good debuff consistency, since you can do full focus on S2, and also, or full focus S1 to proc his S3, or to use his S3 naturally. One underrated thing, Genesis Ras adds another debuff. You can seal him. Or not collapse seal. You can land collapse, soul burn to ignore F-res. It's straight up a guaranteed debuff, and that does help with maintaining 2 debuffs on him. Pretty much the second you land 2 debuffs, he's gonna be dead though. And that's the floor. Nice and simple.